Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 280 to 281 based on novel. So let's start. The moment these illusory volcanoes appeared, large amounts of origin energy began to gather within them. As Wang Lin moved, it looked like there was a group of volcanoes following him. If someone saw this scene, they would gasp and be completely shocked. It was just the fact that these volcanoes looked too real. At a glance, you could tell they were false, but if you took a second look, you would feel like you were right next to the volcanoes. They felt too real, and this would affect your mind. The difference between true and false was enough to shake any cultivator below the Nirvana Shatterer stage. Even Nirvana Shatterer cultivators would be affected by this. After all, this was the first of Celestial Emperor by Fan's latter 3 spells. Mountain crumbles. The anger in Wang Lin's heart manifested in the form those volcanoes as he followed the mosquito beast. There was a unique scent that mosquito beasts gave off that only their own clan can detect. At this moment, the mosquito beast had a ferocious expression. The scent of his clan members was so strong that there wasn't even a need to carefully search for it to find it. Just like this, the person and beast quickly moved through the star system. After 15 minutes, Wang Lin frowned. After all, the mosquito beast was injured and was slow. If they kept moving at this speed, who knew how long it would take to find the people that stole the mosquito beasts? Moreover, Wang Lin gradually felt the divine retribution getting closer. The seal he had placed using the 9 mysterious transformations had loosened. After all, this was outer space. Unlike the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect Starfield, where there was only fire origin energy due to countless years of burning, the origin energy here was extremely mixed. And although his cultivation was sealed, origin energy still entered his body. This origin energy slowly transformed the meridians in his body. Nirvana Cleanser cultivators have their bodies transformed by origin energy so that they are more suitable to comprehend lore. While pondering, Wang Lin waved his right hand and a crack about 5 feet long appeared. This crack didn't remain in one place, but moved at the same speed as Wang Lin. It was like a small boat quickly gliding across the vast ocean, and it looked very strange. Wang Lin's right hand reached into the crack and took out a yellow talisman. With a thought, this 5-foot crack immediately disappeared. He threw the yellow talisman onto the mosquito beast. The mosquito beast trembled and then a whirlwind surrounded its body and charged up in the space above. This whirlwind turned earth yellow, and as it rotated, the sound of howling wind appeared. At the same time, a giant bird appeared above the whirlwind and opened its wings. The mosquito beast suddenly let out an earth-shaking cry and moved forward like a bolt of lightning. It was several times faster than before. As a result, the mosquito beast's speed reached a limit, and Wang Lin landed on the mosquito beast. The mosquito beast was very fast now, so fast that Wang Lin could only see the stars in the distance all blur into long lines as he passed by them. This was the speed of a Nirvana Shatterer cultivator. The mosquito beast never had this kind of speed. Now that it obtained it, it immediately let out loud cries. However, the speed caused it no discomfort as it flew through the stars. There was a group of Alliance cultivators who were given the order to withdraw from the battlefield. They were flying through the star system when they suddenly felt a gust of wind and heard the whistling sound of wind. The wind was so fierce that it immediately swept them apart. They were all aghast at the situation as they stabilized themselves. What is this? It wasn't until now that they heard the sound of the mosquito beast's cry. The sound of the cry was far slower than the speed of the mosquito. The expressions of these cultivators changed greatly. They were too frightened to move. After looking at each other, they immediately left the area. With the mosquito's speed, it didn't take long for it to follow the scent of its kind to the starfield filled with rubble. Even though it was part of the central area, it was very remote. There were very few cultivation planets here, and even those were all abandoned. As a result, almost no cultivators would come here. Seeing the area filled with rubble, the mosquito beast let out a sharp screech and boundless anger filled its eyes. It charged out at the field of rubble, creating a series of popping sounds. All of the rubble that blocked the mosquito beast was smashed into pieces. The mosquito beast charged straight into the field of rubble as if it had gone crazy. As it charged into the depths of the rubble field, it created a series of popping sounds. Inside the green light screen deep within the rubble, the formation being built by almost 100 cultivators was nearing completion. The two elders in purple became even more excited. Once the formation was complete, they would be able to take these giant mosquito beasts back into the Cloud Sea Star system. At that time, their Heaven Gate sect would be able to exchange these giant mosquito beasts for great benefits. The two of them were in a very good mood as they chatted with each other. All the worries they had were gone as the formation was about to be complete. However, just at this time, the giant mosquito beasts that were sealed by the incense suddenly began to screech even though they had been really calm due to the incense. It wasn't just one of them that was crying, all of the mosquito beasts' eyes turned red, and they began to struggle. This sudden change caught the attention of the two elders in purple, and everyone that was building the formation also looked over. These mosquito beasts seemed to have gone crazy, and they attempted to rush out from the encirclement the incense created. One of the elders in purple said, "Something is wrong." The elder beside him was about to speak when his expression suddenly changed and he turned around. He heard some muffled earth-shattering rumbles coming from the light screen that was protecting them. In an instant, the green light screen flashed non-stop, causing the area to alternate between light and dark. The two elders' expressions immediately became gloomy and they flew ahead. Before they got close, they heard a harsh screech coming from outside the green light screen. The moment this sound entered, the three youths who brought the mosquito beasts back trembled. They immediately recognized that cry as the Mosquito King beast. That person actually came. With the elders here, we might have a chance to capture the Mosquito King. The three of them looked at each other and flew toward the green light screen. Outside the green light screen, the mosquito beast flew at an unimaginable speed and smashed into the light screen with anger. A thunderous rumble echoed through the light screen when he did so. However, the green light screen was very strong, so it didn't budge at all, while the mosquito beast suffered the rebound and was pushed back almost 1,000 feet. If it wasn't for Wang Lin reducing the rebound force, the mosquito beast would have been seriously injured once more. The mosquito beast was filled with unwillingness and its eyes were filled with killing intent as it began to screech. Wang Lin stood at the side and stared at the green light screen. His expression was very calm as he took a step forward and arrived next to the green light screen. His hand slammed down and the fire origin energy inside his body rushed out. A sea of flames immediately surrounded the green light screen. The sound of something burning could be heard, but the green light screen didn't dissipate at all. "You're overestimating yourself." A sneer came from inside the green light screen. The two elders in purple had arrived. They looked at Wang Lin with disdain from inside the light screen. Their originally tense minds relaxed when they saw Wang Lin's cultivation level. These two elders weren't Nirvana Shatterer cultivators or even peak Nirvana Cleanser cultivators. They were merely at the late stage of Nirvana Cleanser. After all, they weren't real messengers of the Cloud Sea Star system, they had come here through a secret method. Wang Lin waved his right hand and the sea of flames retreated from the green light screen. His gloomy gaze penetrated the green light screen and landed on the two elders inside. Wang Lin's voice was gloomy as he slowly said, "Hand over the mosquito beasts and those three bold juniors and I can spare the rest of you." The two elders immediately began to laugh. One of them revealed a look of ridicule and said, "I didn't think the Alliance could have an arrogant person like this. To threaten us too with your cultivation level is simply absurd." Although those two looked down upon Wang Lin, they were extremely cautious and didn't leave the green light screen. In their eyes, this person wasn't the master of the mosquito beasts, but a disciple of some sort who was here to lure them out. The real powerful cultivator had to be hiding outside the green light shield. Although their divine senses found nothing, this just made them more suspicious. Wang Lin didn't waste any more time. He lifted his right hand and pointed at this sky. He then took a deep breath and released the 9 mysterious transformations seal, causing his cultivation to erupt. At this moment, the aura of a Nirvana Cleanser cultivator appeared from Wang Lin's body and a large amount of origin energy surged into his body. As the dense origin energy entered Wang Lin's body, popping sounds echoed from within him. At the same time, a powerful force began to gather among the stars. Divine retribution clouds began to gather above this star field filled with rubble. In an instant, these clouds covered the entire star field. At the same time, the might of the heavens descended from the clouds onto this star field of rubble. It separated this space out from the rest of the star system. This is divine retribution. The two purple-robed elders' eyes widened and flooded with disbelief. Fear immediately flashed through their eyes. Although these two elders were Nirvana cleanser cultivators, they didn't know much about divine retribution. The reason they were able to recognize it was because they had just witnessed a divine retribution back in Cloud C star system before coming here. The divine retribution cloud gathered at a rapid rate, much faster than any of the previous divine retribution clouds Wang Lin had faced before. In the blink of an eye, the clouds covered the star field. A thunderous rumble that could shake the entire star field came from the sky, and a bolt of red lighting came out of the center of the clouds. This red lighting bolt was as thick as a bucket, and all the rubble in its path disintegrated. Large amounts of spatial cracks appeared as if space itself was going to shatter. This red lightning was too fast. Just as the red lightning bolt was imprinted in the eyes of the two elders in purple, it charged directly at Wang Lin. This person actually used some unknown method to attract divine retribution before us. One of the elders in purple muttered to himself as if he couldn't believe what he just saw. The red lightning bolt descending with shocking momentum, causing ripples to appear, and landed directly on Wang Lin's head. Wang Lin's expression didn't change at all when the red lightning fell. He raised his right hand and mercilessly squeezed. In an instant, the shocking lightning collapsed with Wang Lin's squeeze and turned into countless arcs of lightning that scattered around him. This scene caused the two elders in purple to gasp. Their eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. At this moment, the three youths arrived and saw Wang Lin crush the divine retribution lightning. Their scalps tingled and they were almost scared out of their wits. One of them began to tremble, and the fear in his eyes reached a peak. Wang Lin's expression was still cold. This kind of divine retribution lighting was truly insignificant to him. He easily crushed the first bolt of divine retribution lightning, and with a wave of his right hand, the scattered lightning quickly gathered toward his right hand. In the blink of an eye, a red light appeared around Wang Lin's hand, and a bolt of lightning moved within the light. As Wang Lin's cold gaze looked over, the people inside the green light screen felt like something bad was going to happen. Wang Lin threw the red light in his hand at the green light screen. The red light turned into red lightning and smashed into the green light screen. The green light screen shook violently, causing the two elders in purple to turn pale. He isn't an ordinary cultivator. The strength of this green light screen was beyond Wang Lin's expectations. Even a bolt of divine retribution lightning wasn't enough to break it. If 1 isn't enough, then I'll use 10. If 10 isn't enough, then I'll use 100. Wang Lin said while killing intent filled his eyes. The divine retribution clouds above rumbled and another bolt of red lightning fell. It wasn't just one bolt, the red lightning seemed to connect together into a line. A total of 9 bolts of divine retribution lightning shot at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression remained neutral, but there was a trace of madness in his eyes. He smiled as he jumped into the air. Not only did he not dodge, he charged at the divine retribution lightning. At the same time, a vortex appeared between Wang Lin's eyebrows and his ancient thunder dragon origin soul flew out and let out a roar at the divine retribution lightning. The roar of the ancient thunder dragon would make all thunder and lighting obey. However, Wang Lin was the only one that dared to roar at the heaven's divine retribution lightning. The 9 bolts of descending lightning paused before the roar from Wang Lin's ancient thunder dragon origin soul. He charged into the middle of the 9 bolts of lightning and the lightning in his left eye flashed. The 9 bolts of divine retribution lightning gathered in his left eye as if a suction force was coming from it. The rumbling continued as the lightning bolts charged into his left eye until they were all absorbed. At this moment, lightning filled his body and popping sounds echoed. There was even some lightning around his body, making him look like a thunder celestial. Wang Lin raised his head as he looked at the divine retribution cloud above him and shouted, "Is this all the power you got?" At this moment, He didn't even know what kind of shock him devouring the divine retribution lightning had brought to the people below. The three youths were scared out of their minds. They could have never dreamt that they had provoked such a terrifying opponent. Devouring divine retribution lightning, the faces of the two elders in purple became pale. At this moment, the pride on their faces was long gone and they looked at Wang Lin with shock and disbelief in their eyes. They thought that this white-haired youth had to be hiding his cultivation level. When they saw Wang Lin devour the 9 bolts of divine retribution lightning, cold sweat appeared on their foreheads. One of them turned around and roared, "Quickly, finish the formation, quickly." The nearly 100 cultivators in the distance weren't at the front, but they could still see what had happened, and they were all shocked. After the elder roared, they gasped and quickly sped up forming the formation. The elders in purple also rushed back. They ignored their statuses as elders and also began helping build the formation. "Quick, we must be quick and leave this damned Alliance star system. How can the Alliance star system have someone that can devour divine retribution lightning?" The divine retribution cloud gathered once more and a powerful pressure appeared. At this moment, a 10 feet thick purple lightning bolt descended. It was so powerful that the moment it charged out, it broke through space and entered the void. However, it rushed out from the void 3 inches from Wang Lin and smashed into the spot between Wang Lin's eyebrows. Wang Lin let out a roar and didn't retreat a single step. Instead, he opened his arms and grabbed hold of the 10 feet wide purple lightning. No matter how much the thunderous rumbles echoed, Wang Lin's body didn't move. Large amounts of residual lightning surrounded Wang Lin and constantly popped. This didn't end here. The divine retribution seemed to become angry, and large amounts of purple lightning bolts bombarded Wang Lin. Soon, the lightning formed a ball almost 1,000 feet wide before Wang Lin. Wang Lin's body was being gradually pushed back by this lightning, but there was a hint of madness on his face. Wang Lin let out a roar. A bit more. The divine retribution lightning above the starfield let out a human-like roar, and at this moment, a bolt of 7-colored lightning descended. The moment the 7-colored lightning appeared, it split into 7 different bolts of lightning. They descended on Wang Lin while carrying unimaginable might. The rumbling echoed as Wang Lin continued to retreat. The ball of lightning before him had become over 1,000 feet wide, and the power inside it was unimaginable. Even though Wang Lin had command over all thunder and lightning, he was finding it difficult to bear. Seeing the endless divine retribution begin to churn once more and flashes of 7-colored light appear, Wang Lin moved. He mercilessly threw this ball of lightning down at the green light screen, and the people inside all cried in shock. This ball of lightning that contained immeasurable amounts of divine retribution lightning contained heaven-shattering power, and under Wang Lin's control, it smashed into the green light screen. The faces of the two elders in purple went completely pale and their pupils shrank. "Open the formation," one of the elders immediately roared. He didn't care if the formation wasn't complete. However, no one objected. The nearly 100 cultivators all got into their own positions and formed their own seals. As for the two elders in purple, they looked at the descending ball of lightning and sat down. Their origin souls merged with the green light screen in an attempt to strengthen it. Almost at the moment their origin souls entered the green light screen, the ball of lightning smashed into the green light screen. A heaven-shaking rumble echoed and a shock wave was set off across the entire green light screen. Endless lightning vented on the green light screen and immediately caused the green light to dim. The two elders in purple immediately coughed out blood, and their eyes were filled with fear. One of the elders' bodies exploded. His origin soul charged out toward the formation that was activating while screaming. Countless lightning bolts penetrated the light screen and moved like dragons inside. More than a dozen of the cultivators sitting there were touched by those moving dragons. Their bodies were instantly charred, and not even their origin souls escaped instant death. Under the attack of the ball of lightning, the green light screen couldn't withstand it and shattered into countless fragments. An unimaginable impact caused a shockwave that spread out. The mosquito beast realized that something was wrong and quickly escaped. It was very fast, so there was no need to worry. However, all the rubble in this starfield turned to dust under this shockwave. In the blink of an eye, The rubble in the starfield disappeared without a trace. Aside from the central area, there wasn't a single piece of rubble remaining. Wang Lin charged out, filled with powerful killing intent and anger from the mosquito beast being injured. At this moment, the divine retribution cloud also made its move. Hundreds of bolts of seven-colored lightning came out from the cloud and shot at Wang Lin. Following the seven-colored lightning, there was a sea of flames. This was the first time this flame-like divine retribution had descended to burn everything in its path. Just at this moment, the formation created by the rubble finally opened. It shined brightly like the stars, and a powerful aura slowly spread out. The seriously injured elder in purple struggled to follow his companion's origin soul. As long as the two of them could enter the formation, they could live. As for Wang Lin, they already feared him from the depths of their hearts. Seeing that the formation had opened, some of the closer cultivators rushed in to be teleported away. But Wang Lin would never allow these people to escape. His eyes lit up and a monstrous wave was set off in space. A power that could collapse space itself appeared around Wang Lin. At this moment, countless illusions of volcanoes appeared out of thin air. A heat wave spread and the muffled roars of volcanoes could be heard. Killing intent appeared in Wang Lin's eyes as he softly said, "Mountain crumbles. Celestial spell, mountain crumbles." The moment Wang Lin said those words, the countless illusory volcanoes that appeared around Wang Lin suddenly began to overlap. The countless illusory volcanoes overlapped and, in the blink of an eye, fused into one. A majestic mountain suddenly appeared before Wang Lin. This mountain was no different from a real one. This mountain was more than 10,000 feet tall. Although it wasn't large in space, it was a giant before everyone here. A powerful pressure diffused across the area. The moment the mountain appeared, violent ripples appeared in space. A lot of the rubble in the formation collapsed. The mountain began to shake, then its top exploded and countless rocks scattered everywhere. At the same time, black smoke rushed out and filled the air. Dark red flames sprayed out from the peak. The temperature of the flames could erase all life. As they sprayed out, the flames turned into giant burning rocks and mercilessly smashed down. The cultivators from Cloud Sea screamed when the stones smashed into them. Their bodies were immediately crushed and the flames went inside their bodies, directly refining their origin souls. The black smoke from the volcano contained a large amount of fire poison, and it spread everywhere. It was like the apocalypse was happening in this starfield, and it was terrifyingly real. A cultivator who was already half a step inside the formation was about to leave turned around with a terrifying expression and the black smoke immediately surrounded him. Before he could leave, he let out a mournful cry as his body turned into black gas and collapsed. Even his origin soul was burned to dust, and he disappeared in an instant. Even the seven-colored lightning exploded early due to the black smoke and flames. This caused a heaven-shaking thunderous rumble. Some of the weaker cultivators that escaped the flaming boulders and the fire poison had their origin souls shatter by this thunderous rumble. They coughed out blood and their eyes dimmed before they died. Miserable cries echoed across the star field. However, this wasn't over yet. The mountain that sprayed out the black smoke and flames trembled once more. Waves of lava began to surge out to the top of the mountain and intense heat filled the area. Then an aura that could destroy everything in the world appeared. When the lava spread out, 7 cultivators were too close and were about to flee when 2 of them were surrounded by the black smoke. They died painful deaths. There was another person who was smashed by a flaming boulder the moment he flew up. His body was splattered into a pool of blood, but due to the intense heat, the blood quickly turned to mist and dissipated. They were the lucky ones. Although they didn't escape death, the pain they suffered couldn't be compared to what the 4 remaining ones experienced. These last 4 were a bit slow and didn't even have time to fly away before the lava smashed into them. The moment the lava got close, their bodies began to burn, leaving behind nothing but black skeletons that maintained the posture of what they were doing before death. The skeletons only lasted for half a breath of time before they collapsed into piles of ashes. As for their origin souls, they were burned into nothing by the lava. The most painful were those with higher cultivation levels. They didn't die in the first wave of lava but couldn't escape the lava. They could only struggle inside. Even though they used various spells and treasures, it was difficult to escape this calamity. The mosquito beast in the distance used its fast speed quickly returned. Its eyes were filled with coldness as it flew into the mountain crumbles, where its companions were. Wang Lin's mountain crumble had destroyed all sealing forces, and there were no flames around the mosquito beasts. Seeing the Mosquito King arriving, the mosquito beasts let out a cries and immediately followed after their king. This group of mosquito beasts charged left and right inside Wang Lin's mountain crumbles. They were very vengeful as they charged at a terrified cultivator in yellow. This person was one of the 3 people that had lured the mosquito beasts away. He was the one with the injured leg. He had just avoided a flaming boulder when he felt a gust of wind behind him. Seeing the mosquito beasts, his expression changed, but he was too late. The group of mosquito beasts surrounded him and tore his body apart. This group of mosquito beasts had tasted blood, which made them even more crazy. Under the leadership of their king, they searched for the other 2 for revenge. All of this happened in an instant. Under the power of mountain crumbles, there were no injuries, only death. The origin soul of the elder in purple that had lost his body was terrified. He dodged the burning boulders and black smoke as he clenched his teeth and charged at the formation. The other elder in purple was also pale as he dodged the black smoke and charged at the formation, completely disregarding the lives of the disciples. He was terrified, and his heart was filled with regret and hatred. He regretted his greed, and he hated the 3 disciples under him that brought the giant mosquito beasts that caused this calamity. Wang Lin's eyes were calm, but he didn't show any mercy toward these people. They dared to think about stealing the mosquito beasts, so they deserved to pay the price. He opened his arms and shouted, "Mountain, first crumble." After Wang Lin shouted, the mountain trembled once more and a large amount of rocks fell off into the lava. The surrounding lava suddenly soared into the air, and at the same time, it filled the star field with an unimaginable force. Some of the remaining cultivators were touched by this lava and were turned into black ashes while screaming. The fastest elder in purple's origin soul got near the center of the formation. Thanks to the first crumble, countless cracks had appeared on the already broken formation, and it released a harsh glow. As the lava charged into the air, the formation couldn't withstand the destructive force, and the formation collapsed. The intense, flashing light suddenly penetrated anything nearby. The formation rumbled as it shattered inch by inch before it collapsed completely. No. The elder in purple's origin soul was filled with despair and he couldn't help but tremble as he floated there. However, due to this pause, a burning boulder smashed into his origin soul from above. The elder coughed out a mouthful of essence origin energy as he retreated, and his origin soul began to burn. However, the crisis wasn't over yet. The poisonous black smoke formed a storm around him. As miserable screams echoed, the elder used some unknown method to charge out of his storm. He was covered in flames and his origin soul was bleak, as if it would dissipate at any time. His origin soul looked like the skin of a toad and was covered in pustules. These pustules were filled with fire poison. Even the inside of his origin soul had a fire burning. The elder roared in anguish as he retreated. He jerked his head up to look at Wang Lin, and there was madness in his eyes. "If I die, you will die with me." The old man let out a roar and charged at Wang Lin. At this moment, he was prepared to self-destruct. Waves of origin energy came from the elder's origin soul, forming a violent force that charged at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was neutral, and as the elder got close, Wang Lin pointed with his right hand. Celestial origin energy moved along his body and went into his right hand. "Stop." Wang Lin's voice was cold, but the moment he spoke, the old man's origin soul paused for a moment. The old man's cultivation level was higher than Wang Lin's, so Wang Lin activated his fire origin energy to suppress the rebound from the stop spell. He waved his right hand, and with a thought, the Karma whip appeared like a dragon and shot toward the elder. There was a snap, and the destructive aura coming from the elder's origin soul was shattered by the Karma whip. As the snapping sound echoed, the elder's origin soul let out miserable screams. The madness in his eyes was gone and was replaced with fear. Just as he was about to retreat, the Karma whip pulled him to Wang Lin. Wang Lin grabbed the origin soul and threw into the crack leading to Wang Lin's storage space. It looked as if the origin soul was devoured. All of this happened in an instant without a single pause. This caused the remaining elder to tremble, and he turned to escape. But how could Wang Lin let him escape? His right hand pointed at the sky and he shouted, "Second crumble." 1 mountain 2 crumbles was the limit of Wang Lin's current understanding of mountain crumbles. Compared to Qing Shui's 6 mountains and 12 crumbles, it was still very lacking. Qing Shui's mountain crumbles could destroy a realm, and although Wang Lin couldn't do the same, it was enough to destroy these cultivators. If there was no divine retribution, Wang Lin wouldn't have come on his own. But with divine retribution, forget the fact that these 2 elders were only at the late stage of Nirvana cleanser. Wang Lin would dare to battle with Nirvana Shatterer cultivators. The entire space began to tremble under the second crumble, and the huge mountain trembled while rumbling loudly. The mountain finally collapsed. Not just the mountain, but mountain soul formed by Wang Lin's will and celestial origin energy also collapsed. Countless burning rocks scattered and endless lava and poisonous black smoke sprayed out, covering the starfield. If this was it, it wouldn't be much, but under Wang Lin's control, all the shattered burning rocks, lava, and poisonous black smoke formed a flowing river around him. At this moment, Wang Lin was like a god as his white hair flowed and his cold gaze was filled with killing intent. All the Cloud Sea cultivators had been disintegrated. Only the last elder in purple who coughed out blood after the second crumble desperately tried to escape. He was scared, totally terrified. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he waved his right hand and the burning river shot toward the old man. Wang Lin stopped paying attention to the old man and looked up. The divine retribution flames had descended from the divine retribution clouds. Fire. Wang Lin's expression was calm and he revealed a smile. As the flames descended, Wang Lin pointed at them with his right hand. In an instant, a flame appeared in his left eye and a fiery red armor appeared around him. From a distance, it looked like Wang Lin was wearing fire. The white cloak flowed behind him along with his white hair, and there was also the white vermilion bird on the armor. Wang Lin charged straight at the heavenly flames. He rushed into the heavenly flame instantly, and the flames that got near him were immediately absorbed by the armor. The vermilion bird came out from his armor and let out a cry. The vermilion bird seemed to be dancing within the heavenly flames. This heavenly flame divine retribution was something Wang Lin could withstand. He raised his head to look at the sky and revealed a challenging gaze. Wang Lin had experienced many divine retributions and had always ended up in an sorry state afterward. He was almost killed many times, but he had never yielded. Today, he controlled both fire and thunder, and the suppressed defying nature inside him erupted once more. This divine retribution was an expression of the heavenly Tao. If you wanted to defy the heavens, you first had to defy the heavens' divine retribution. Intense rumblings came from the divine retribution cloud as Wang Lin stared at it with a challenging gaze. As if the might of the heavens had been insulted, the clouds churned violently and the heavens might descend from the cloud. This wasn't the first time Wang Lin had experienced the heavens' might, he had encountered it twice before. Anyone that dared to rebel before the heavens' might would be destroyed. However, not only did Wang Lin not retreat, he began to laugh. Fire divine retribution, lightning divine retribution, illusion divine retribution, might divine retribution, is there nothing other than these 4? Wang Lin faced the sky and didn't move at all under the pressure from the heavens' might. After he spoke, the heavens responded, and the pressure increased over 100-fold. The space around Wang Lin began to distort as if there was an indescribable power tearing it. Wang Lin's body immediately descended a few dozen feet under this pressure. Crackling sounds came from his armor, but his head was held high. He waved his right hand. In the distance, the burning river wrapped around the old man's burning corpse and pulled it back along with the origin soul. The elder from the Cloud Sea had been gravely injured. The ball of divine retribution lightning was enough to cause his body to collapse, but he was able to suppress it. Then mountain crumbles injured him even more, causing his cultivation level to fall greatly. He now only had the power of an early-stage Nirvana cleanser cultivator. Due to being surrounded by the burning river, the elder's origin soul had weakened, but when the burning river returned to Wang Lin, his eyes suddenly jerked open. Then his origin soul expanded like crazy, allowing him to escape the river, and he charged at Wang Lin. "Die for me." This was the old man's last roar in life. He closed in on Wang Lin filled with killing intent. Wang Lin let out a cold snort, then his right hand formed a palm and slapped down on the origin soul. The origin energy within the star field gathered like crazy to form a giant handprint, and it smashed down on the old man's origin soul. The old man's expression changed greatly and he cried, "This is Rank 9 Soul Sect's War Spirit print." Just as the old man said this, the print smashed into his origin soul and pushed him back into the burning river. Thunderous rumbles echoed and the old man's origin soul immediately collapsed. Without any time to ponder the old man's words, Wang Lin's right hand formed a seal and pointed at the burning river. The burning river quickly rushed above Wang Lin and reformed into a mountain. However, this mountain was filled with cracks, and the red light coming from the cracks lit up the area. At this moment, the heavens might became even stronger and pressed down. Wang Lin's face turned slightly red, but he laughed, pushed his hands up, and roared, "Mountain crumbles, destroy the heavens." The large mountain above Wang Lin suddenly charged up, creating a sharp whistle. Wang Lin flew up and followed closely after the mountain. His hand was pushing against the bottom of the mountain as if he was pushing it straight into the divine retribution cloud. As the whistling sounds echoed, the pressure from the heavens might became hundreds of times stronger. As Wang Lin pushed the mountain up, it began to collapse. The shattered pieces couldn't withstand the might of the heavens and were crushed to dust. However, Wang Lin didn't stop moving forward but moved even faster. He let out a roar as he pushed the mountain up and got closer to the divine retribution clouds. He got closer and closer. Wang Lin's hair moved and the armor on his body continued to crackle as if it couldn't bear it anymore. There were sounds of bones rubbing coming from inside Wang Lin's body, and the veins on his face were swelling. However, Wang Lin didn't care about any of this. What he wanted was a defying intent. He had confronted divine retribution many times, and he was in a passive position during every one of those times. This time Wang Lin wanted to fight back. As he got closer, a large portion of the mountain collapsed into dust. In the end, the entire mountain disintegrated into dust. Although the mountain had collapsed, the mountain's soul was still there. After all the rocks disintegrated, Wang Lin was holding a flaming mountain. Although rather than a mountain, it was more of a mountain-shaped flame. At this moment, Wang Lin was within 100,000 feet of the divine retribution cloud. The heavens might suddenly increased. Cracks appeared in the space below it, and endless chilly energy came out from the spatial cracks. Even the flame mountain Wang Lin was pushing became dim, as if it was going to extinguish under the heavens' might. Wang Lin let out a roar, then he waved his right hand and the origin energy inside his body pushed the flame mountain toward the divine retribution cloud above. 100,000 feet. 90,000 feet. 80,000 feet. 50,000 feet. The moment the flame mountain came within 50,000 feet of the divine retribution clouds, a thunderous rumble came out from the clouds. In the end, the mountain wasn't able to make it into the divine retribution clouds and extinguished under the shock. Without the flame mountain, there was nothing between it and Wang Lin. Wang Lin was filled with unwillingness. Only 50,000 feet more, if he could get past these 50,000 feet, he could attack the divine retribution cloud. As the pressure descended, a raging flame appeared in his left eye and monstrous thunder appeared in his right. The thunder from his right hand moved along his right hand and formed a ball of lightning above his right palm. At the same time, the flame from his left eye went along his left arm and a white fireball appeared above his left hand. Thunder of the heavens, listen to my command as an ancient thunder dragon and gather. Wang Lin floated in the air and roared. A giant ancient thunder dragon appeared behind Wang Lin. Its eyes were filled with heaven-defying intent and it let out a roar. All the thunder suddenly transformed and began to gather in his hand. The area within 10,000 feet of Wang Lin was covered in thunder, as if it was a thunder hell. Endless lightning moved around like snakes. What was even more alarming was that when Wang Lin used his right to command thunder, Countless bolts of lightning unexpectedly came from the divine retribution clouds toward his right hand. At this moment, it was as if Wang Lin was competing with the heavens for the control of thunder. He was fighting against the heavens for the right to control thunder. As the thunderous rumbles echoed, more lightning from the divine retribution cloud was pulled out. Another thunderous rumble came from the divine retribution cloud, and the descending lightning bolts paused. They seemed like they were going to return to the clouds. Heaven's Tao, divine retribution. If there really is a heaven, and if heaven wants to destroy me, I'll destroy heaven. I, Wang Lin, don't believe in heaven's Tao or divine retribution. The so-called heaven's Tao is merely a self-appointed heaven's Tao, and the so-called divine retribution is merely a self-appointed divine retribution. Seeing the lightning returning to the divine retribution clouds, Wang Lin's grasped with his left hand. Fire of the heavens, listen to the command of my vermilion bird, gather. In that instant, a large amount of white flames appeared next to the ancient thunder dragon and turned into a giant vermilion bird. This vermilion bird opened its wings and let out a cry. A sea of flames suddenly appeared out of nowhere and gathered toward Wang Lin's left hand. At the same time, a large amount of flames came out from the divine retribution clouds and went toward the fireball in Wang Lin's left hand. Not only was he going to compete with the heavens for thunder, he was also going to compete with the heavens for fire. If any other cultivator saw this, they would be greatly shocked. Right now Wang Lin had a ball of thunder in his right hand and ball of fire in his left hand. Aside from absorbing origin energy, he was competing with the divine retribution clouds for power. The roar from the divine retribution clouds became even more clear, then a blood mist came out from inside them. This was the fifth type of divine retribution, blood divine retribution. The moment the blood mist appeared, Wang Lin suddenly raised his head and shot out like an arrow. He charged at the divine retribution clouds with a ball of thunder 1,000 feet wide and a ball of fire of similar size. 50,000 feet. 40,000 feet. 30,000 feet. 10,000 feet. Wang Lin got closer and closer to the divine retribution cloud. The moment he was within 10,000 feet, the blood mist arrived. Part 281. From a distance, it looked like Wang Lin was devoured by the blood mist, and everything calmed down. The mosquito flew around anxiously with its companions. It looked at the divine retribution clouds but didn't dare to get too close, as this divine retribution was not something it could withstand right now. Time slowly passed. Just as the mosquito was getting anxious enough to charge toward the divine retribution clouds, a thunderous roar came from inside the red mist. As the red mist rumbled, there were flashes of thunder, and a sea of flames raged. A crimson-red figure charged out from the blood mist. It was Wang Lin. Wang Lin's face was pale, but there was killing intent within his ferocious expression as charged out from the red mist and headed directly for the divine retribution clouds. He crossed that 10,000 feet gap in an instant and charged into the divine retribution cloud. The moment he entered the divine retribution cloud, he immediately felt the might of the heavens. He pushed both his hands forward, causing fire and thunder to cross, and created a heaven-shaking destructive aura. A thunderous rumble suddenly appeared, and as the fire and thunder collided, the boundless divine retribution clouds rapidly shrank. Thunder fire filled the entire divine retribution clouds. The powerful impact caused the divine retribution clouds to shrink like crazy, and the roar from within became even more heaven-shaking. In almost an instant, the divine retribution clouds began to collapse due to the intense rumbling. It was as if there was a pair of giant hands tearing the clouds up. Wang Lin clearly felt the tearing force that was attempting to tear his body into pieces. He was just about to get out when his pupils shrank. He was surrounded by clouds, but Wang Lin clearly saw a 100-foot spatial crack not far away from him. Dense fog came out from the crack, as if this crack was the source of the divine retribution. After hesitating for a bit, Wang Lin looked at the spatial crack and charged at it. After a few moments, he arrived next to it. What was strange was that he didn't feel the tearing force at all while near the crack, and this made Wang Lin even more cautious. Clenching his teeth, Wang Lin sent out a sliver of his divine sense into that crack. The moment his divine sense entered, his body trembled violently. As soon as his divine sense entered the crack, he saw a new world. This place had a blue sky and an ocean and was filled with celestial spiritual energy. The land was boundless with no end in sight, but Wang Lin immediately saw a giant statue on the ground. This giant stone statue was an ancient god. This ancient god had 8 stars, with 2 of them sealed, but he stood there motionless, as if he was dead. However, Wang Lin clearly felt the powerful vitality coming from that ancient god. If that was it, it wouldn't have been enough to shock Wang Lin. However, he didn't just see one ancient god. On the ground, there were no less than 10 ancient gods, and nearly 100 ancient demons and ancient devils as well. There was a young man sitting on top of one of the ancient demons. He had a mirror in his hand and frowned as he calculated. The divine retribution entrance Uncle Master Ma mentioned should be here. Just at this moment, the youth suddenly raised his head and looked up. His eyes were filled with ecstasy. He looked at the sky and had apparently found Wang Lin's divine sense. His eyes lit up and a ray of black light shot out into the sky. Wang Lin didn't hesitate at all to cut off that sliver of divine sense. He immediately rushed out and charged through the fire and thunder within the divine retribution clouds. He shot out from the divine retribution clouds and headed for the mosquito beasts. Right when he stepped out from the divine retribution clouds, his expression changed and he felt his trace of divine sense destroyed. He didn't have time to think before he waved his hand and put all the mosquito beasts inside the storage space. He also took the yellow talisman off the mosquito beast's back. He did all of this without pause, then he placed the yellow talisman on his body and moved. A whirlwind appeared around him and his speed increased drastically and he flew away. Shortly after, Wang Lin left the rumblings within the divine retribution clouds. The divine retribution clouds continued to shrink until they seemed like they had disappeared. However, if you looked closely, you would see that the divine retribution clouds hadn't dissipated. They had condensed into a ray of greenish-black light. The moment the greenish-black light appeared, an aura that didn't belong to this world appeared. The isolation created due to the divine retribution immediately dissipated. I accidentally helped dissipate the powerful 4-form divine retribution. Forget it, I finally escaped from that damn place, so it was right to help him. Excited words came from the greenish-black light, then it disappeared without a trace. Just at this moment, in the far western region of the Alliance, there was an old man sitting on the prairie of a very common cultivation planet. He wore black and was very calm, as if nothing in the world could change that calmness. If Wang Lin was here, he would immediately recognize this old man as the person who stopped the battle between Qing Shui and the Yarrow family ancestor in all heaven. His eyes were calm as he looked at the green grass beside him. Under his gaze, the grass began to grow strangely. It turned from a bud into withered grass in the blink of an eye, but then it immediately turned back into a bud. This cycle continued endlessly. He raised his right hand and was about to pick the grass when his right hand suddenly trembled. His eyes filled with disbelief. If Master Flamespark saw the old man's expression, he would be greatly shocked. This person that he respected greatly had always been calm and never revealed this kind of expression. The old man waved his sleeves and his body turned transparent before disappearing. No one knew what his cultivation level was or what spell he used, but when he appeared, he was at the place where Wang Lin experienced the divine retribution. The distance he crossed was simply too large, not even spatial bending could move this far in one go. However, all of this was extremely easy for the old man. He frowned as he looked around until his gaze locked on the void about 1,000 feet away. This was where that greenish-black light appeared, a sliver of ancient celestial realm aura. The old man pondered a bit before turning around and leaving. As for Wang Lin, he quickly returned back into the area controlled by the 4 divine sect, and only then did he slow down. He kept replaying the scene he just saw, especially the young man who shocked him greatly. Who is he? Wang Lin's eyes revealed dread as he looked at the dark sky behind him. He lifted his feet and ripples appeared before he disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already outside the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect. He didn't enter the burning starfield but chose an abandoned planet. Wang Lin picked a mountain on that planet and sat down. After sitting down, he let out a breath of relief, and the more he thought, the he felt that lingering fear. After a long time, he suppressed his various moods and his right hand reached at the void. A crack immediately appeared and the origin soul of one of the elders in purple appeared within his hand. Wang Lin's divine sense spread out without hesitation and went toward the head of the unconscious origin soul. Soon, large amounts of memories were extracted by him. Wind Celestial Realms Cloud Sea Star System. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. After pondering a bit, a hint of joy appeared in his eyes. Cloud Sea Star System. After pondering a bit more, Wang Lin once more explored the memories of this origin soul to look for the passage to the Cloud Sea Star System. After 15 minutes, Wang Lin withdrew his divine sense and smiled. The structure of this Cloud Sea Star System is vastly different from the Alliance and All Heaven, and it is very suitable for me. Also, that Wind Celestial Realm is actually filled with mosquito beasts. I didn't think that the barrier around the Cloud Sea was the weakest out of the 4-star systems. Only a special formation is needed to break through. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he looked at the origin soul in his hand and carefully put it back inside the storage space. I can use this origin soul as a guide by using senior brother Qing Shui's spell. Now I'm only missing the formation. Fortunately, the materials necessary for this formation aren't too difficult to find. I just need to fully understand the formation to be able to form one. If everything I prepared for Tuor Sen isn't enough, then the Cloud Sea Star System will be my last choice. Wang Lin pondered a bit before standing up and taking a deep breath. He looked at the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect and muttered, "Alright, now I just need for the old Divine Emperor to return with the Rain Celestial Realm Crystal." All Heaven, the Corpse Sect, and the Alliance forces all guessed that I sent out the jades so I can fish among the chaos. In truth, you all only guessed half of it. My other goal is to lead you all to the land of the ancient gods so none of you can mess up my 4 divine sects' plan to save the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor in the Rain Celestial Realm. I wonder how many of you have seen through my plan. Wang Lin was filled with pride as he moved toward the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect. He was going meet Wang Wei and Hu Huan, and also ancient devil Ta Jiao, who was sealed by the holy treasure. At this moment, a heaven-shaking matter took place inside the Alliance headquarters at the central area of the Alliance. Even the formation outside shook violently, as if it was going to collapse. At the same time, deep within the burning starfield on the white stone the old Divine Emperor was sitting on, the old Divine Emperor suddenly opened his eyes. However, soon after, his eyes exploded into a pool of blood. "Wang Lin, come to see me immediately. Quickly." The moment the old Divine Emperor sent out the divine sense, Wang Lin, who was about to enter the burning starfield, trembled. He suddenly looked up and his expression changed. As the Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor and also someone who had cultivated the same 9 mysterious transformations, he naturally had a special method to communicate with the old Divine Emperor. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to use the talisman that was still on him and charged into the burning starfield. He was too fast, and just as he entered the burning starfield, he took a step and disappeared using spatial bending. In an instant, ripples appeared 100 feet from the white stone the old Divine Emperor was on and Wang Lin stepped out. He immediately saw the old Divine Emperor's bloody eyes. Death aura was spreading out from the old Divine Emperor. Wang Lin didn't even need to use his divine sense to feel death fiercely trying to take the old Divine Emperor. Senior, Wang Lin's eyes were filled with sorrow as he stepped onto the white stone and opened his mouth. He had many things to say, yet he wasn't able to utter a single word. The old Divine Emperor raised his head. There was a hint of light within his eyes that were bleeding black blood. "Your senior brother, Qing Shui, is really inside the Cultivation Alliance headquarters. The activation of the formation outside the headquarters was directly related to him. He didn't die, but he went crazy. The Cultivation Alliance has been hiding a heaven-shaking secret for countless years. When Master Xianzhong and them went to the Rain Celestial Realm back then, not only did they obtain most of the inheritances, they also found some mysterious things. They have been studying them for these countless years. I fear not even the brilliant Void Realm knew of this matter. These mysterious things are too important, they could even affect the 4 celestial realms. Wang Lin, quickly go save the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor and then immediately send this jade to the brilliant Void Realm. This matter is too terrifying. Your cultivation level isn't high enough, so don't get involved in this. The old Divine Emperor was already on his deathbed, and after saying so many things at once, he couldn't help but try to catch his breath. However, he still struggled to raise his right hand and point to between his eyebrows. His origin soul suddenly flew out from his body and looked at Wang Lin with a gentle gaze. Wang Lin, take care of yourself. I'm unable to help you anymore. After he spoke, his origin soul released a burst of soft light, but soon it turned into a bright light that spread in all directions. In the blink of an eye, the brightness of the light reached a peak, and Wang Lin's vision blurred. When he could see again, he saw the old Divine Emperor's origin soul gradually dissipate into specks of light. At that moment, he clearly saw a hint of melancholy and relief on the old Divine Emperor's face. Two things appeared where the old Divine Emperor dissipated. There was a red jade and a crystal the size of a baby's fist. Pure celestial spiritual energy came from the crystal and slowly spread out. Wang Lin silently pondered, and the sadness in his eyes became even stronger. He silently looked at where the old Divine Emperor's origin soul had dissipated, and after a long time, he let out a sigh before looking at the old Divine Emperor's body. After losing the origin soul, the body began to burn until it turned into a burning statue. It maintained the old Divine Emperor's previous appearance and position. His right hand was still pointing to between his eyebrows. Wang Lin took a few steps back, kneeled down on the stone, and kowtowed 3 times on the stone. He didn't worship or kneel for the heavens, but the old Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor received 3 kowtows from Wang Lin. The moment the old Divine Emperor died, all the elders in the Vermilion Bird Divine sect felt sadness in their hearts. They all silently flew out from the planets they were on and knelt down toward the direction of the old Divine Emperor's body. Tears flowed out from their eyes. I respectfully send off the Divine Emperor. I hope you have a good trip. I pray the Divine Emperor's soul in heaven will protect my Vermilion Bird Divine sect. Soon, not only them, but all the Vermilion Bird Divine sect members felt the sadness that spread across the world. They all knew that the old Divine Emperor had left. The sect members knelt down one by one and tears silently flowed out from their eyes. Respectfully sending off the Divine Emperor, a sound that came out from the heart gradually came out of the cultivation planets and became louder and louder. Even the Vermilion bird statues on the main planets let out cries of sadness. An illusory vermilion bird that was very old and tired flew out from the old Divine Emperor's body. It flew into the distance until it turned into nothing. The once powerful Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor that led the 4 Divine sect through the crisis of the White Tiger Divine Emperor's death, the Black Tortoise Divine Emperor's betrayal, and the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor's disappearance. After countless years, the old Divine Emperor had finally passed on. At this moment, the elders of the Azure Dragon Divine sect, the White Tiger Divine sect, and the Black Tortoise Divine sect all felt something. They silently looked at the direction of the Vermilion Bird Divine sect and knelt down. The members of these 3 sects also knelt down. A sad aura shrouded the eastern region of the Alliance. The former glory had gone with the wind. The pursuit without regret was merely for the past. The present was lost in the sadness of the past, but it will exist forever, in the hearts of all 4 Divine sect members. After the old Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor died, all heaven called back all their cultivators. Under the command of Master Flamespark, they headed toward planet Suzaku. Even the only family who had an inheritance from the ancient cultivation world came from all heaven to join them. The halls from the Thunder Celestial Temple moved among the cultivators and gave off bursts of pressure. Not only them, the Corpse sect almost sent out their entire sect toward planet Suzaku. Long teams of disciples with coffins moved through the stars. It looked like a funeral procession. The actions of these 2 sides immediately caught the attention of the various alliance forces. After seeing the information on the Jades, the forces met in secret and all sent out their own forces. At this instant, a storm was set off inside the alliance. The dark aura before a violent storm gradually appeared. On the other side, in the eastern region of the 4 Divine sect, a group of elders also led their sect members toward planet Suzaku. This was to cover up the 4 Divine sects' real movement. Almost at the same moment all the various forces arrived at planet Suzaku, the remaining 35 Nirvana Shatterer elders gathered in the Vermilion Bird Divine sect. They sat in a formation with serious expressions and expectation in their eyes. They formed a circle, and everyone had a formation below them. Between the 35 people, there was a circular shape that was empty. However, there were 35 branches that connected this circle with the formations under the 35 elders. There was a large amount of 4 divine sect members around the 35 elders, no less than 10,000 people. They all sat down, and there was a formation below each of them that linked to the formations under the 35 elders. They were all waiting for the order. Once order was given, they would release all the origin energy inside their bodies without reservation to open the formation. At this moment, Wang Lin moved among the stars and slowly made his way forward. Soon, he arrived before a ring of fire that rotated like a storm. Shu Ligua's roar could sometimes be heard from within. Wang Lin stopped outside the firestorm and shouted, "Shu Ligua." After he spoke, Shu Ligua's voice inside the fire suddenly stopped. At the same time, a huge gap within the firestorm suddenly appeared. The gap was large enough that you could clearly see Shu Ligua's sorry figure inside. After hearing Wang Lin's voice, Shu Ligua subconsciously revealed a look of flattery, but he forcibly suppressed it. Instead, he revealed his suppressed anger. "You murderous fiend, you finally remembered your grandpa Shu. Today I'm going to deal with you." Shu Ligua had been forced into countless life and death situations that forced him to comprehend the ancient sword intent. His cultivation level had increased leaps and bounds, so much so that he would even dare to fight against ordinary Nirvana Scryer cultivators. At this moment, he charged out filled with anger and turned into a giant sword. He looked exactly like the celestial sword and contained a hint of the aura of wealth. As he charged out, the flames around him were pushed back. The large sword Shu Ligua formed charged out and closed in on Wang Lin. Coldness flashed across Wang Lin's eyes and he didn't even look at the giant sword. He waved his right hand and endless origin energy gathered before shooting at the giant sword coming at him. A rumbling sound echoed and the giant sword collapsed. Shu Ligua retreated in terror, but he was unwilling to give up. He let out a roar and Hen turned into 9 big swords that formed a sword formation. The sword formation gave off a monstrous sword intent and charged at Wang Lin once more. Wang Lin nodded slightly. The current Shu Ligua barely met his requirements. He entered the sword formation and casually grabbed one of the swords. He mercilessly squeezed it, and popping sounds echoed and the remaining 8 swords all collapsed. However, the sword intent remained and turned into 8 giant skulls that charged at Wang Lin. Interesting. Thunder flashed in Wang Lin's right eye and endless thunder surrounded him. The thunder moved around like snakes and the 8 skulls let out a miserable screams and all exploded. Holding the large sword in his hand, Wang Lin used a bit more force and cracking sounds came from the sword along with Shu Ligua's panicking voice. "Master, Master, little Shu was wrong. It wasn't intentional, I just haven't met my tall, mighty, handsome, confident, smart, brave, extraordinary, unparalleled, unique, surpasses all those behind and after, wise, bold, accomplished, elegant, handsome like a jade tree, loved by all, talented, great scholar, heaven-shaking cultivation, and amiable master. This little one has missed you a lot." After all these years, Master finally remembered little Shu. "I thought that Master no longer wanted me. Master, please go easy, go easy." Shu Ligua was timid by nature and was frightened out of his wits. He had said every single thing he could think of at once, and even Wang Lin was startled after hearing this. Shu Ligua felt death closing in once more. Wang Lin's hand was like the scythe that could harvest his soul. Just a bit more force and it would crush his soul that was hidden inside the sword. "Shut up." Wang Lin frowned. Shu Ligua immediately stopped talking, but his sword body trembled as he thought, "It's over, it's over. I must have been crazy to dare to attack this fiend. Shu Ligua, Shu Ligua, you're such a cunning devil, how could you be so impulsive? This refinement is over and I'll see your performance from now on. If you dare to rebel again, I'll erase you." Wang Lin's voice was cold, but it was like a spring breeze that eased Shu Ligua's heart. He quickly said, "Master really is Han." Without waiting for Shu Ligua to finish, Wang Lin waved his right hand and sent the sword into the spatial crack. He didn't want to listen to Shu Ligua's exaggerated flattery. After putting away Shu Ligua, Wang Lin took a step to the side and disappeared. Ta Shan was still sitting on a cultivation planet somewhere within the Vermilion Bird Divine sect. There were several beast skins beside him, and he continued to infuse tattoo power onto them. As he was drawing, Ta Shan's right hand trembled and he raised his head. Wang Lin had unknowingly appeared and calmly looked at him. Ta Shan pondered a bit and bitterly said, "Master." Wang Lin withdrew his gaze and looked into the distance. After a long time, he calmly said, "You have regained your consciousness, so you don't need to call me master." Ta Shan's face became even more bitter and then he softly said, "It was master who allowed me to survive until now. Ta Shan will never forget this." Wang Lin let out a sigh as he looked at Ta Shan and asked, "When are you leaving?" Ta Shan's body trembled as he looked up Wang Lin. After pondering for a bit, he let out a wry smile and said, "How did master see through me? You've been making talismans since you got here. If you didn't have a plan already, you wouldn't be doing this." This was the first time Wang Lin had met Ta Shan in a few years. Wang Lin also felt very complex about meeting his former celestial guard. Ta Shan nodded and whispered, "I want see my clan members back in all heaven. Master, aside from the talismans I made for myself, I also made 3 for you. They are Speed, Collapse, and Seal." As he spoke, he took out 3 beast skins and respectfully handed them to Wang Lin. These 3 talismans were made with very rare hides. The amount of effort that went into making them was several times higher than normal. Wang Lin looked at Ta Shan as he took the 3 talismans and said, "The Alliance star system is very chaotic right now. Be careful on your trip." Ta Shan looked at Wang Lin and nodded. "If you see the disciple I took on planet Qinling, then please help me take care of him." Wang Lin took another look at Ta Shan before leaving. It wasn't until Wang Lin left that Ta Shan silently knelt down and kowtowed once toward Wang Lin. Then he put away all the beast skins, took a deep breath, and flew into the sky. Sichu naturally had to go on this trip to the Rain Celestial Realm to save the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. The poison in his body hadn't been completely forced out, and if there was no antidote, it would cause trouble later on. Sichu Nan had already arrived next to where the 35 elders were and was standing next to one of them. This was the elder that was helping Sichu Nan expel the poison. Sichu Nan sat there with a serious expression, but he had already made up his mind. If he gets the poison removed, he is going to drag Wang Lin to planet Feng Luan to get revenge. He was going to return all the suffering he had to endure from the female cultivators on planet Feng Luan. There were some abandoned planets in the Vermilion Bird Divine sect that weren't suited for people to live on. They were filled with poisonous gas, and the flames made the poison even more intense. At this moment, Wang Lin appeared next to one of these abandoned planets. There were no plants and almost all life had extinguished. There was only a black desert that gave off intense heat. When you stood on this black desert, you could feel the traces of poison mixed in with the heat. The black desert wasn't flat, it had ups and downs, and even mountains. There was a mountain before Wang Lin. It was completely black, and the heat waves caused Wang Lin's white hair to flow in the wind. Wang Lin clasped his hands and said, "Wang Lin greets Senior's celestial cloud couple." The moment his voice came out, a ray of sword energy came out from the mountain and shot toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin didn't retreat but smiled as he looked at the sword energy. The sword energy closed in and turned into a person. This person looked middle-aged and was very handsome but a bit pale. When he looked at Wang Lin, he also had a smile on his face. "Wang Lin, the 2 seniors already knew you'd come, so come down with me." This man was Zhu Yi. There was no need to talk about their relationship. With a smile, the 2 of them stepped into the mountain and went down. This mountain was extremely deep, and intense heat waves came from within. Wang Lin naturally didn't care, and he looked at Zhu Yi. Zhu Yi looked normal and whispered, "When I first came here, I really wasn't used to it, but now it's no problem." Zhu Yi high-stated a bit but still asked, "Wang Lin, I heard you came this time became you plan to save the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor." Wang Lin shook his head as he looked at Zhu Yi with a look of respect and said, "In addition to saving the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor, there is also the matter with Celestial Emperor Qing Lin. Only by awakening Qing Lin can Celestial Lord Qing Shuang revive." After Zhu Yi heard this, Excitement filled his face. He looked at Wang Lin and gratefully said, "Thank you." Wang Lin's expression became complicated and he shook his head. Ju Yi was startled and immediately thought of something. His expression became bleak, and as he descended with Wang Lin, he said, "You and I are very alike, but I have you to help me, while you have no one to help you. Big brother Ju is powerless to help you." Wang Lin silently pondered and didn't say more. Not long after, the two arrived at the bottom. The bottom had been changed completely by someone with a powerful spell. This was like a different world separated from the poison. It was like the Garden of Eden. A small river flowed to an unknown location with several wooden huts near it. There were even fields of green with a few blooming flowers. Wang Wei was sitting on the side of the river, smiling at his lover, Hu Huan, on the other side. Hu Huan was like a child with her feet in the river, occasionally kicking up a wave. After Wang Lin and Ju Yi entered the barrier, Wang Lin clasped his hands and respectfully said, "Junior Wang Lin greets two seniors." Wang Wei looked at Wang Lin and smiled. "Tell me the reason you asked me to sneak attack Li Yunzi. Otherwise, I won't let you off so easily." Hu Huan on the other side of the river smiled as she moved her hair and said, "Wang Lin, he cares about this a lot. He feels it's embarrassing to sneak attack a junior with his status as a senior." Wang Lin smiled. Wang Wei and Hu Huan had become very close to him after what happened at the Demon Spirit Land. They no longer regarded him as an outsider. Wang Wei probably didn't care that much about sneak attacking Li Yunzi. Since he was asked, Wang Lin explained a bit, and Wang Wei no longer cared about it after listening to the reason. Back in the Demon Spirit Land, Junior heard Celestial Emperor Qing Lin's last words. Rain Celestial Realm Temple, Origin Soul Crystal, and Qing Shuang's body. Junior has two of them, but the Rain Celestial Realm Temple. Wang Lin paused here and looked at Wang Wei. Wang Wei's expression became serious and he nodded. "During these years, I have thought about it, and there was indeed a temple. It was where Master became the Celestial Emperor. I also told you about this matter before, so you coming here now means..." Wang Wei looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin silently pondered before telling them about how the old Divine Emperor had taken the Rain Celestial Realm Crystal. Wang Wei became serious after hearing this, and even Hu Huan stopped playing in the river. She put on her shoes and came next to Wang Wei. The two of them looked at each other, and Wang Wei said, "The two of us will remember the old Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor's kindness. If the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor is really trapped in the Rain Celestial Realm, the two of us will help rescue him to repay the old Vermilion Bird Divine Emperor's favor of getting the Rain Celestial Realm Crystal." Wang Lin nodded. Wang Wei and Hu Huan tidied up a bit and, along with Ju Yi, left with Wang Lin. As for Qing Lin's body, Wang Wei was holding it. On the formation on the main Vermilion Bird planet, everyone was silently waiting. At this moment, 4 rays of light closed in and arrived at the formation, revealing Wang Lin, Wang Wei, and company. Wang Lin stepped into the center of the formation and sat down without wasting time. His eyes shined and he shouted, "Open the formation." With that, his right hand reached at the void and a crack appeared. A crystal filled with celestial spiritual energy flew out. At the same time, the 10,000 sect members opened their eyes, and their origin energy went into the formation. The formation below them immediately began to flash. The moment the light reached a certain degree of brightness, it began to gather under the 35 elders. All the elders formed a seal and activated their energy like crazy. All the origin energy from the disciples was split into 35 portions and moved straight toward the crystal before Wang Lin at the center of the formation. In an instant, the crystal shined brightly, and an unimaginable quantity of celestial spiritual energy filled the area. A pillar of celestial spiritual energy shot into the sky, and ripples spread out in all directions. A thunderous rumble echoed as the door to the Rain Celestial Realm slowly appeared above the Vermilion Bird Divine Sect planet. At this moment, all the cultivators who had reached a certain cultivation felt this fluctuation. Those who are familiar could tell that the Rain Celestial Realm had opened. At the same time, the rain furnaces appeared across the Alliance star system. However, All Heaven, the Corpse Sect, and the various Alliance forces had already gathered around planet Suzaku. Although they were shocked, they didn't have time to worry about this. People with our cultivation level will make the rain celestial realm unstable and collapse on a large scale. We must quickly rescue the Azure Dragon Divine Emperor. After Wang Lin spoke, he charged toward the rain celestial realm gate. Behind him, the 35 elders, Sichu Nan, Wang Wei, Hu Huan, and others all followed. Another person who Wang Lin was too busy to pay attention to also charged toward the rain celestial realm. That person was the silver female corpse. At the same time, on a remote, abandoned planet in the northern region of the Alliance, the planet shook violently and split open in a cross. An old man with white hair floated out with his hair covering his face. There was a crystal light flashing before him. It was a rain furnace. Wang Lin. You can't escape my calculations. At this moment, a gust of wind blew away the messy hair on the old man's face, revealing him to be all-seer. The sun rose early in the morning and the sunlight dispersed the darkness. The people that woke up early caused the city of flowing cloud to become lively. Shops opened one by one, and the food street on the west side was especially filled with people shouting. The fried dough coming out of the boiling oil, the white buns revealed in the steam baskets, and tofu with other snacks made this street very lively. Seng Shureishan's stall was selling wine. Even though it was morning, their Seng family's wine was light and refreshing. Drinking it in the morning wouldn't make you drunk, instead, it made people feel refreshed, so it was quite popular. Seng Shueishan, who was about 50 years old, stood on the side with a pipe while looking at the server that was busy working. A smile appeared on his face filled with wrinkles. A middle-aged man who had just bought a jug of wine shook it before taking a big gulp. He smiled at old man Seng and said, "Uncle Seng, your wine isn't as tasty as before. Are you missing ingredients?" Old man Seng's eyes widened as he smoked the pipe and snorted. "Nonsense, my Seng family's wine." Before old man Seng finished speaking, the middle-aged man laughed. "Your Seng family's wine has been passed down for thousands of years. It was said that it even caught the fancy of an immortal. Uncle Seng, you say those words almost every day. I still have to go to work, so I don't have time to listen to your long-winded speech." The middle-aged man took the wine with a smile and left. Old man Seng took a big drag of his pipe and muttered, "What does a little brat know? My Seng family's wine was indeed drunk by a celestial for more than 60 years 1,000 years ago. He still had a few wooden carvings that were more than 1,000 years old. These were carvings of the Seng family's first-generation ancestor in Flowing Cloud City and a blurry-faced immortal. There was a legend that was passed down for generations within their Seng family. The legend was that their Seng family wasn't originally from Flowing Cloud City, but had moved here during a snowstorm disaster. The rumor had it that their ancestor lived with that immortal for more than 60 years and that the immortal was the benefactor who helped them move here. Ancestor Seng Danu lived to the age of 137. Even before death, he still remembered that immortal. This story has been passed down for generations, so how can it be fake? Old man Seng narrowed his eyes and tapped his pipe on the ground. He looked extremely proud. However, he quickly rubbed his eyes and carefully looked at the sky, and his mouth widened. The sky was originally clear and the sun shined brightly. However, large ripples appeared in the sky and swept across the entire sky. Thunderous rumbles echoed, causing the lively street to immediately quiet down. Everyone looked up at the sky, and panic appeared in their eyes. Shortly after, as the ripples passed, rays of light appeared in the sky and descended like meteors. These rays of light easily broke through the atmosphere and turned into cultivators. Immortals, the mortals on the ground all exclaimed and began to tremble. Some immediately hid inside their houses and didn't dare to come out. "Don't disturb these mortals. Quickly gather in the Sea of Devils." A commanding voice echoed like thunder. At the same time, the cultivators that descended didn't stop and quickly flew off into the distance. At the same time, this same scene appeared all over planet Suzaku. This shocking change caused the mortal empires to panic. The mortals all trembled and didn't know what to do. Fortunately, those immortals didn't harm any of the mortals. The moment they appeared, they flew away. The native cultivators on planet Suzaku naturally saw this, but none of them dared to fly up and ask. Not even those at the soul formation or soul transformation stages dared. Any of the foreign cultivators flying across the sky was strong enough to make you tremble. There were some that could make you almost collapse with one gaze. Even the few ascendant cultivators on planet Suzaku looked at the sky with shock. Ju Wutai's expression was gloomy. Very few cultivators flying across the sky were ones he could deal with. As for the rest, just their auras were enough to make him gasp. Fortunately, even though there were many different forces among these cultivators, none of them bothered the native cultivators. They all charged toward the Sea of Devils. The entire sky was covered by rays of light, and a moment later, a giant shadow appeared in the sky. The sun in the sky was covered by a large shadow. At this moment, the entire planet was covered by a shadow. These shadows were the palaces from the Thunder Celestial Temple. They didn't descend on to planet Suzaku, they just orbited it. After all, planet Suzaku was half-wasted, so it couldn't withstand the powerful fluctuations from the palaces. Shortly after the shadows appeared, coffins began to descend. There were coffins of various sizes, and they were surrounded by many cultivators. As people flew toward the Sea of Devils, they naturally saw the huge statue on the ground. This was the statue in the Cloud Sky sect. An arrogant cultivator from all heaven saw that a tiny cultivation planet like this had dared to build such a statue. He felt like this statue looked familiar, but he didn't think too much about it. He let out a cold snort and was about to destroy it as he passed by. However, just as his right hand was about to descend, a feminine voice came from behind him. "Stop." The cultivator was startled as he looked back and said, "Shi Zifeng, what is the meaning of this?" The woman who spoke was Shi Zifeng. She coldly looked at the arrogant cultivator and calmly said, "Take a closer look at who this statue is a carving of." With that, she disregarded the cultivator, then she looked at the statue with a complex gaze and let out a sigh before flying away. The arrogant cultivator frowned and carefully looked at the statue. The more he looked at it, the more familiar it looked. Then his eyes opened wide and he gasped. "This is Thunder Celestial Shu Mu." Although all heaven had already removed Wang Lin's right as Thunder Celestial, Wang Lin's battle for the title was famous. It was not something that would be forgotten in short few hundred years of time. This arrogant cultivator's scalp went numb. He knew that Shu Mu's Daoist name was Master Devil, and it was not something he could forget. He also felt that destroying someone's statue was a bit pointless, so he turned and quickly left. Master Flamespark and company, along with people of the Corpse sect, also noticed this. After orders were sent out, no one else dared to think about destroying the statue. The Corpse sect, all heaven, and the various powers of the Alliance all gathered on planet Suzaku. They all quickly gathered at the Sea of Devils based on the information they were given. Planet Suzaku wasn't very big, so they quickly rushed toward the Sea of Devils. In truth, no side had sent many cultivators to planet Suzaku. In total, there were about 7,000 cultivators. They were the first wave to check the area. After all, although the credibility of Wang Lin's information was high, they still had to verify it. Even more cultivators were floating outside planet Suzaku. They were all in their own groups, waiting for the news from the first wave. All the restrictions blocking the path to the land of the ancient god were nothing in these cultivators' eyes. They all charged through and arrived past the chaotic broken stars at the entrance to the land of the ancient god. Ferocious roars came out from the oval-shaped entrance to the land of the ancient god. The first trial to enter the land of the ancient god was the dark abyss filled with floating boulders. However, at this moment, all the boulders collapsed and pairs of ferocious eyes lit up. This place was where Wang Lin almost died and where the Thunder Toad appeared, and it was now filled with countless ferocious beasts. They were silently waiting. Roars came out from the oval in the Sea of Devils that led to the land of the ancient god. The surrounding cultivators paused for a moment, but they didn't stop. They all stepped into the oval. When the first cultivators appeared, a ray of red light charged out from the bottom of the endless abyss. Just as a cultivator was about to move, a flash of red lightning came out from below and landed on them. This person's body trembled and he was numb for a moment. Just at this moment, a red light closed in. It was a red python almost 10,000 feet long, and it immediately devoured the cultivator. This action was a signal to start the slaughter. Many ferocious beasts charged out and began a life-and-death battle with the cultivators that entered. At this moment, blood fell like rain in this abyss and aroused the ferocious nature of the beasts. As the fighting continued, the fluctuations of origin energy gradually spread to the depths of the abyss that not even Wang Lin had explored. Two blood-red eyes looked up at the cultivators above. At the same time, within the sea of blood deep within the land of the ancient god, the red-haired Tuor Sen was sitting on top of a pillar. His finger was sliding on the ground, making a harsh sound. He slowly raised his head, revealed a smile. Then he raised his right hand and mercilessly grasped. This video will end here.